This is Josh Kimmel, and this is Cold Brews and Hot Takes on your beautiful Monday afternoon. I'm having a bad hair day. Can't tell because it looks so magnificent. Today we are talking week 14, heading into your playoffs if you made it. And I'm assuming if you made it, you're here with me today. So without further ado, people, I know I'm late. Let's get it started.
You're watching Cold Brews and Hot Takes, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
And we are back on this beautiful Monday afternoon. We have a lot to talk about. I have a bunch of things to get through. I am so sorry I am late. It is 12:06 p.m. on your beautiful Monday, and I will not be late again. I apologize for this again. But I hope you are here for the remainder of the show. I'll be pretty entertaining. I'm feeling it today. I've had a couple cups of cold brew already. I will not be drinking cold brew live on the show because they've already been downed and peed down the toilet. I know none of you needed to hear that. If you want any to follow us anywhere, it's Blue Sky. FantasyNowPlus.com is where you can find our articles, rankings, waivers, where I was the number 3 ranker last week. I'm not sure where I'll be this week. Probably not number 3 because your boy had a bad week. Scored 75 points in my home league. 75. Last week I scored 170. I think the average is like 140. It was a bad week for me, but I hope you guys all had a tremendous week. We'll start first with the injuries, of course. Happy Monday, Charlene. We have Daniel Jones, the biggest news of the day, of the week, of the year. Daniel Jones went down. It's very difficult to talk about because this was a team on the rise. They traded away some first round picks to get a defensive cornerback to help out this team advance in the playoffs. And before Daniel Jones really got injured, they were already falling down the totem pole as the Houston Texans and Jacksonville Jaguars were on their way up. So this is just more badness, unluckiness to the Indianapolis Colts and to your fantasy football teams. Imagine this. All year long, you had Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback, or if you're super flex leagues as your quarterback too, all the way until the playoffs. Now you're forced to pivot. You probably thought, I'm good at quarterback. I could trade these bench assets to go ahead and go get a Jamar Chase or a player that's Justin Jefferson before all this crap happened. And now you're stuck with a star player like I am, like Jamar Chase, who isn't performing, and now no more quarterbacks. I'm going into the playoffs in the majority of my redrafts with no quarterbacks because I fall into that situation of Daniel Jones was my quarterback 1. Now I'm quarterbackless. So don't worry. I got some options for you in the playoffs, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Zach Ertz, possible ACL. That's unfortunate news. David Njoku scored that touchdown and then was injured, knee injury. Pay attention to reports. Geno Smith, shoulder injury. Tested, not show any damages. Keep an eye out for that. Devin A. Chan was on a roll. Was going to have a 40-point game before he got injured. Could have came back into the game if there was an emergency. Did not need it. Tyrod Taylor injured, like rowing. And I only put this here because it made me laugh. And no disrespect to all you dynasty players. I'm a dynasty player. No disrespect to all you Twitter experts, all you Blue Sky experts. No disrespect to any of you. Elijah Arroyo, the superstar himself, Mr. Preseason, Mr. He's going to be everywhere. He injured his knee, just in case you rostered him. I heard big things. He was going to be a superstar. He was going to be on top. He was going to be on billboards. He was going to be on the tickets. When you buy the tickets, they have the players on them. I wish I had my WrestleMania ticket on me to show you they had the Fiend on there. Yeah, poor old Elijah Arroyo, superstar in the making. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much into that. We have serious news. Before we get into the guys that crushed it and the guys that sucked, I'm going to get to some of your questions or comments. So Jonathan Santiago says, what's up, guys? Need 16 from Barkley to get my bye week. Think I make it? Saquon. He has been up and down. He has not been the Saquon of old. We'll get to him a little bit later, of course, but I'm going to say, just because I love you, Jonathan, yes. But in reality, no. Unfortunately, he needs a touchdown. Jonathan also says, also as a Mahomes manager, we don't use these owner terms, kid. I'm such in a hyped up mood today. As a Mahomes owner, I think I should pick up Brissett in case his knees. Yes, pick up Brissett if he's still available. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Would you drop Sharps or Jay Higgins? I think I would. Okay, you're going to the playoffs, Jonathan Santiago. Let me ask you this: who would you start first in a matchup, Charbonnet or Higgins? Being as the matchups are equal, everything's equal. They're on the same playing field. Charbonnet and Higgins. Who would you start? Cut the other guy. That's who I would do. It's because honestly, in the playoffs, I don't think you should be starting any of those players. But if you are, you want to go with the safer one. So it might be Charbonnet. But again, that's up to your team and your depth. If you're good at running back and you may need the wide receiver upside or the wide receiver depth, definitely stick with Higgins. Craig wants to know, hi, Josh. Monday, I did better this week, but still 50 points behind. Only Devontae Smith for Monday. Yes, Warren and Alec and also Emeka didn't do anything either. Evan with 40 points. Yeah. Even with 40 points from Allen. Hey, man, I'll disclose this. In my giant, massive dynasty league where it's a very large sum of money to play in this dynasty league every year, so much so you have to make a deposit to draft and then pay the other half when you can, which usually is in a couple weeks. Yeah, I had Gibbs. He scored 37. I lost by like 50 because the rest of my team didn't show up. Rashi Rice. We'll get into all these bums. But nobody showed up this week. Superstars did not show up. Ashton Genty also did not show up for me as well. Hopefully Saquon doesn't pull a Bajan. Hey, hopefully Saquon doesn't pull a lot of star running back stuff this year. What's going on, Jamie? I didn't have time to do my hair. To be completely honest with you guys, my profession outside of this profession, I started a new role today. I've been in meetings since 8:30 to literally 12 o'clock. Literally. So I didn't have time to make the hair neat. This is just me, baby. When I roll out of bed, this is what my wife sees every single day. Come on. How could she not like it? Oh boy. Hair down, fully cat. Bro, you don't even know how much. Because I told you, it's the first day at my new role. Same department, just new role. Promotion. And I'm like, I'm hyped up, baby. I'm ready to go. Even though I had one of the worst fantasy football days of my life yesterday, where all of my players, I'm telling y'all, all of my players completely died on me. On the team where I'm supposed to go undefeated and like nobody can touch me, I'll read my roster real quick. Hurts, Judkins, Hall, JSN, Rice, McBride, Genty, Lamb, Mahomes, Tet McMillan, Justin Jefferson, Wan'Dale Robinson. That all-star team that I have that I should literally go undefeated, I scored 94 points. I scored 94 points with all those superstars I just named you. No, that's not a 8-man league. That's not a 4-man league. That's not a 6-man league. It's a 12-team league that I just dominated. And I put up 94 points with most of these players that you guys are saying the bed. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Anyway, let's get to business. Let's get down to the matter at hand. First, we'll get into who crushed it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these players. Just want to go through them, and then we'll get into the playoff matchups that I have. I have every team, who they play in the playoffs, and who you should be looking for. So we'll get to that very soon. Should I cut Genty or RJ Harvey now? Whoo! We'll get into that, Craig. Shedeur Sanders had a game yesterday. Had himself a game. I am eating a lot of crow on this one. As you guys know, 2 weeks ago, I was on this here channel telling you that Shedeur Sanders is not a professional football player. And then Sean, the reason I'm looking down is because Sean decided to text me in our group chat, Shedeur Sanders cooked? Question mark. 342 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. Yeah, he cooked. He crushed. Good for Shador. I didn't think he had it in him. Who did he play again? Who did he play? Oh, that kind of matters. But again, it's nice to see a big matchup or a big explosion from Shador Sanders. If you started him in a league, congratulations. I couldn't imagine anyone did. Couldn't imagine anyone did. No one would be dumb enough to start Shador Sanders in a spot where you need to clinch a playoff role. As I'm loading up my phone to show you guys, I started Shador Sanders in one of my leagues, and he won me the matchup. So Sam Darnold also came through 23.3 fantasy points in a game they blew a team out. I am shocked. I am shocked. And here it is. Here it is. Shador Sanders, baby. Sean, read that in a week, baby. Josh Kimmel started him. 40 points. Sam Darnold, 23.3 points. Crushed it again. And Tyler Shuck. There needs to be a study on rookies or players that are underwhelming when they play Tampa Bay. And what I mean by that, rewind all the way back to Mitchell Trubisky. This dude was about to be benched, thrown a bajillion interceptions. The coach came, this is a long time ago, so some of you guys weren't even born yet. Trubisky was having a very bad. As you know, he sucks. Not good at football. The very next week, after all this commotion, he threw 6 touchdowns against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's many examples of this. More recently, Kyle Williams. You remember that guy? Remember Kyle Williams, superstar wide receiver, New England Patriots, 23 years old, drafted in the 3rd round. He was going to come in and take over the world, right? Take over the world. It'd be they don't have anyone else there. Well, his game against Tampa Bay was his best game. 2 catches, or no, 1 catch, 75 yards, 72 yards, a touchdown. He scored a touchdown against the Giants week 13. But other than that, really done nothing. So Tyler Shuck and the Saints, congratulations on you guys. You beat the Buccaneers. Not a big deal. Everybody does it. And JJ McCarthy, 20.4 fantasy points. We're going to talk about if we can trust JJ McCarthy in the playoffs because he has such a good matchup. He has such good matchups from weeks 15, 16, and 17. So we'll look at him real quick. Tony Pollard crushed it, 28.1 fantasy points, had that one long run. He's had 5 double-digit games all season. He's played 13 of them. Use that information how you wish. RJ Harvey scored 22 points, back-to-back 20-point games. Now I already knew why. I know why you're asking, should I cut Genty for RJ Harvey? I can say yes, you can. If your league is that short and you're able to pick up RJ Harvey and drop Genty, at the end of the day, he's just getting more work and he's on a better offense and he's more reliable. So I could definitely see you starting RJ Harvey over Ashton Genty. And then Jalen Wright came in relief from Achane, scored 16.7 fantasy points. They played the New York Jets. Cool. Michael Wilson. Man, why can't Marvin Harrison do this? Why do you think it is? Why do you think Marvin Harrison can't score 24.8 fantasy points per game? Because that's what Michael Wilson's done since week 11. 2 more points a game than JSN in that time frame. Why can't Marvin Harrison ever do this? What is it? I'm trying to figure it out. I did somewhat joke with Justin in our group chat about how I named a bunch of stud receivers. And like in the past, like, oh, he should be a Hall of Famer. I didn't name Marvin Harrison for a reason because was he quarterback dependent with Peyton Manning his whole life? And is Marvin Harrison really that good? Because he doesn't have a Peyton Manning with him. I was just joking with him. I get he's going to come at me after he sees this. But we need to start thinking about, the pedigree with Marvin Harrison Jr. Well, he maybe needs a pedigree quarterback like a Peyton Manning. I don't know. But Michael Wilson doesn't. Michael Wilson just comes in there and is like, hey, throw me the ball every time, and I'm going to catch it like almost every time. But when Marv's in there, it's like they're treating him like a fragile little toy. Like you can't, like, how these collectors are. And if you're a collector, no disrespect, because I'm not. I'm the guy who has a Dan Marino signed NFL football, and I throw catch with it with my son. I don't care about autographs. I don't care about people's signatures. I'm not a collector. But if you're a collector, It's like they're treating Marvin Harrison like he should be in a case, wrapped in bubble wrap. And don't give him 18 targets. Don't give him 50. Hey, just give him 5. That's enough. That's enough, guys. Don't spam Marv. Like, what are we doing here? Why can Michael Wilson do it? But Marvin, it is what it is. Michael Wilson continues to be a superstar from week 11. Man, what is happening? T. Higgins, 27.2, had a monster game where Jamar Chase was kind of not monstrous. There was a scary situation where not scary, but T. Higgins came down, hit his head pretty hard, left the game, and you're like, oh, that's T. That's done. He's done. He came back in and had a very solid game. Christian Watson, 24.9 fantasy points. Seems to be he's pretty safe to start. Now, as soon as the playoffs roll around, we'll see. And Michael Pittman picked it up, that backup quarterback. The quarterback, Justin, literally wanted to start the season. So we'll see. Michael Pittman, 16.9 fantasy points per game or in that game. And yeah, I was really worried that T. Higgins wasn't going to come back either, Craig. I was really worried. Tight end front, Harold Fannin crushed it, 25.4 fantasy points. This is the Harold Fannin we wanted to see. We haven't seen in quite a long time. Mike Gesicki, 20.6 fantasy points. Dawson Knox and Josh Oliver also crushed it. Just because I know you guys all started those two, right? Dawson Knox and Josh Oliver. I know you started them. Why wouldn't you? They're super studs. Patrick Mahomes sucked. 8.3, 3 interceptions. Not much I could say about that. I know Justin's probably going to give me crap on our showdown show because I picked Patrick Mahomes. I said, don't worry about Houston. He's going to crush. Well, worry about Houston. Jaden Daniels, 3.7 fantasy points, left the game early with that re-injuring that arm, but they said he could have came back if needed or for emergency services. So I expect him to play next week. I'm not sure though. Not sure. Keep a lookout for that waiver report and the injury reports. George Pickens, 8.7 fantasy points. What are you going to do? Rashee Rice, as well as Mahomes, as bad as Mahomes did, Rice did a lot worse, 7.4. And Van Jefferson, I'm sorry. Van Jefferson scored 3.7 fantasy points. Justin Jefferson, he scored 3.1. You will not start Justin Jefferson the rest of the season. Call it a wash. I don't know what to do with him. Call it a wash. Listen, I know he's a super stud. I know he's Justin Jefferson. I know that he has the ability to change games. But now we're in the playoffs. There's no more, well, I can catch up next week. Well, I can afford to lose half a game here. Well, I can afford to. You can't afford to anymore. These are the playoffs. It's one and done. You're going to have to make tough decisions based off matchup and player production, not just player production anymore. And when that player production like Justin Jefferson has been so bad in the past 3 or 4 weeks, I don't see how you can trust him logistically in a playoff matchup in week 15, 16, or 17, no matter the matchup. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to start in a week. Matter of fact, if you have Justin Jefferson, you're probably not in the playoffs. But if you happen to sneak into the playoffs with Justin Jefferson, you're going to have to make a tough decision. And I'm not going to sit him. I'm not going to play him. I'm not. Judkins scored 9.4. It is what it is. Bajan, 9.4. You want to see more of that at your running back 1. Craig, Ashton Genty, 5.8, man. You can't really start Ashton Genty in a playoff spot. We'll get to him. Breece Hall, 4.3. That's what Breece Hall does. He either gives you 15 or 5. There's no in between. And Charbonnet and Ken Walker had in a game that were winning pretty well. They did not run the ball a lot. 3.8 fantasy points for Ken Walker. And the tight ends, the usual suspects. Jake Ferguson sucked. Trey McBride was awesome. Sucks. 10.8 fantasy points. Not awesome. I was joking. And AJ Barner, everyone's favorite, 5.7. So those were your bad people. People you suck. People that really, really suck. Let's get into matchups. I know a lot of you people are in the playoffs because you watch us. I really appreciate that. It's awesome. But we do have the matchups. Matchups matter. And I think all of you are in the playoffs, and I think all of you are going to have question marks. I hope most of you got bye weeks. I hope you did, because bye weeks are a cheat code. You do not have to do any kind of matchups this week, which is phenomenal. You get to coast into the divisional round. You're almost guaranteed third place, which we don't fight for third place here. Third place sucks. But, I mean, you get your money back in some situations, some leagues. I don't know. Let me know down below what you're playing for, what you're fighting for, and what your seed is in the playoffs. I know there's a game tonight, and there's a lot to be settled. We still have a big matchup tonight. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, right? We have the New York Giants. We have the New York Giants. Who is it? No, they're on by the LA Chargers. Philadelphia Eagles, LA Chargers. That's some big fantasy matchups involved here. We'll do the nightcap after this, but here's what I want to get to you. The playoff matchups. Who I think has the easiest way to your playoffs. So let's go with the quarterback position first, because the quarterback position is probably the most important. And you're going, who do I need to start? Who can I match up perfectly? And the teams that actually match up perfectly are quarterbacks you don't really want to start, which that's the sad part about this whole situation. The Minnesota Vikings, they get at Dallas, which, you know, they have this reputation of being one of the worst defenses in the world. They've actually cleaned up their defense a little bit since the beginning of the year, but they get Dallas, and then they get the Giants. Then they're versus Detroit. So that's 3 pretty decent matchups in a row for J.J. McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. Not so much for, the running game, but for the passing game, J.J. McCarthy should have some pretty easy matchups. It's up to him if he's going to actually follow through and play. But are you feeling confident with J.J. McCarthy or Justin Jefferson in any of these matchups? We're speaking at Dallas, at New York Giants. We'll get to the Detroit playoff, the championship game when we get there. That's the way I look at it. You're on the road with, say it, he's a rookie quarterback. This is his first year ever starting. He hasn't even started every game this year. So you're essentially going into Dallas and New York in December. Not that it matters, but on the road with a rookie quarterback playing as bad as he played all season. Coming off of a massive game, 20 points. So that gives you some kind of indication that he's going to perform. But he hasn't really performed back-to-back games in many times this year. Matter of fact, he's been benched. Matter of fact, he's been downright bad this year. So J.J. McCarthy is someone that's going to be juicy. When you see him on the waiver wire, you're going to go, wow, green matchups all the way. I think this one's a trap. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is J.J. McCarthy, is his matchups a trap, or are we playing him? Remember, Dallas, Giants, Lions. Bengals. The Bengals, to me, in my opinion, have the best matchup you can have going through the playoffs. You have Baltimore. Joe Burrow has Baltimore. Joe Burrow has at Miami, who can be had. And he has Arizona, which we know their offense now. They just throw the ball 1,000 times a game. So there's going to be a lot of possessions between both teams. Joe Burrow came back in a perfect scenario for your playoffs because, I mean, let's be honest. In a super flex league, you probably drafted him in the first round. And then if you're in 5 redraft leagues, then they're all super flex and you took them all in the first round, and you got hurt in week 3, you're most likely out of the playoffs in most of them. But if you were lucky and you drafted Daniel Jones on the back end, you kind of survived. So I'm really happy Joe Burrow's back because I made the playoffs in 4 of those 5. And I just love what he's done since he's come back. 19 points against in week 13, had a decent game yesterday, and then against Baltimore. Against Baltimore, that's where he had his 19.2 game, remember, during the holiday week. Completed 52% of his passes, had 2 passing touchdowns, threw for 261. I would love to see that again. So I love Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow this week, and I'm hoping that all of my teams that I snuck in as a 6 seed with Joe Burrow coming back, I hope I win and upset some teams because, man, I deserve it. I'm just going to tell you. Sometimes, look in the mirror sometimes, all the times. Tell yourself, you deserve this. And you know what? I deserve at least 3 of these championships where I drafted Joe Burrow because I went through the gauntlet of picking up this player, picking up that player, picking up this quarterback, just for me to get to the playoffs with my starting cast that I drafted. Wait, no, I don't have Daniel Jones now. But that's for me to figure out later. Oh boy. My other favorite matchup, my third favorite matchup for the quarterback position as I go through this entire list, it's Brock Purdy. I love Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has Tennessee at Indy, a reeling Indy, by the way, and then versus Chicago. I think the 49, is it Chicago? There's no way it's Chicago. I think they're all divisional games. Let me see. Maybe I wrote that down wrong. But either way, the first couple matchups, I really love Tennessee and Indianapolis. We saw Shadur Sanders and what he could do. Shadur Sanders, I'm not going to be that guy because I'm rooting for him. I've said this since day one on the show. I've said this day one in the preseason. I'm actually rooting for Shadur Sanders. But if he can throw for as much as he did on Tennessee, why can't Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy will. Brock Purdy's going to be coming off of a bye week, heading into the playoffs. That one extra week off last week or this week is going to set up this 49ers team for a good run down the stretch. And they have not cupcakes, but they have Tennessee and Indianapolis. Colts aren't a cupcake, no disrespect, Justin, but they're reeling right now. You cannot say they're not. They are. They're on the downward turn. It's okay. Some teams are on a downward turn, and they're one of them. Let me make sure they play Chicago week 16 because I don't think they do. I think they play a divisional team, and maybe I just wrote that down wrong. San Francisco 49ers schedule. There's no way they play the Chicago Bears week. Do they really? I thought every team plays divisional games the last 2 weeks. Maybe I'm wrong. But they do play the Chicago Bears December 28th at 8:20 p.m. Yeah. So yeah, I like Brock Purdy in this matchup. I think Brock Purdy, if you have him or if you roster him already, or if he's available on waivers, which I doubt he is, he's someone I want to pick up. Yes, it is Titans, Colts, Bears. I'm really surprised. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm looking at the Texans right now. They play the Chargers week 17. Raiders play the Giants. Washington plays Dallas. I don't know. I'm not a schedule maker. I just turn on Red Zone at 1 p.m. on Sunday and I just watch the games ahead of me and I have fun. I'm sure we all had fun this weekend. I'm not going to lie to you. When Daniel Jones got hurt, I turned the TV off. I had to walk away. I went on a walk. It was a rainy day here in Tampa. As you probably watched the Buccaneers game, it was a downpour. I went on a walk in that rain to go ponder my thoughts on, I thought I was the smartest man alive. I was part of the 0.05% of people that believed in Daniel Jones this year before they were named him the starter. I was telling you guys this. And I'm like, gosh, this was my moment. This was mine, Daniel Jones. And your Achilles took it from me. No, in reality, I was very upset. I'm like, gosh, man, like all of my teams relied on one person. And that's okay. I mean, honestly, my teams mean nothing. At the end of the day, Daniel Jones has to get right. And this sucks for him. We're not going to get back in that conversation, but it really does. So I had to walk, clear my mind. I came back to football about an hour later. And I had a fun rest of the day, but it just sucks to see your guys that you rode or died with. How do you say that? Ride or died with, or is it rode and passed away with? You let me know in the chat. But you ride or die with these people all season long, and right before the playoffs, they go down. It was frustrating. Brian says, no one knows that the schedule does. It's proactive and gets the people go. Yeah. Road or dode. I like that one too. I like road or dode. I'm so stupid. Or is it died? I don't know. All right. For running backs, man, we're going through them all, people. We're going through them all. My favorite running back matchup heading into your playoff matchups. Really, ride or died. You guys are the best. You guys truly are the best. A lot of these are going to be the same, but I want to say this: Trevion Henderson. He's my favorite running back matchup for your playoffs for two reasons. One reason is they have a cake matchup. They have Buffalo, Baltimore, Jets. 3 easy teams you could run on. Buffalo's better at defending the pass than they are the run. And they can be ran on. That's just your week 1, though. After that, if you get past Buffalo and you get the Baltimore and the Jets, I think you should be good to go. Trevion Henderson might be a league winner this year because he had such a slow start. We all know he did. We all can see what Ramondre Stevenson did to this guy and that coaching staff. But really, he's going to end the season strong if they allow him to. He's going to be on a lot of people's championship teams. He does play the New York Jets in the championship week 17. By the way, I'm a boomer. Week 18's got to go. Let's go back. I want to say, oh, they went 10-6. They went 9-7. They went 8-8. I'm still not up to jive with this new week 18 crap. I'm over it. I don't want it. It's messing up records. It's messing up my lingo for all my life. It was 10-6, 11-5, 12-4. Now I have to adjust my own vocabulary for this. It's ridiculous. Rico Dowdle. He wants to know Rico Dowdle. He's got at New Orleans versus Tampa versus Seattle. It's not looking great for Rico Dowdle. Can definitely get over on New Orleans. No, I'm not a fan of Rico Dowdle's stretch, New Orleans, Tampa, Seattle, but he is going to be, if he's the work back, Chuba Hubbard came in there and crushed it before the bye week. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not really confident in Rico Dowdle going down the stretch. Can I tell you guys a story real quick? Of course I can. You're here. It's my show. But this is a story that scarred me for all of my life. And this has to do with the playoffs. A long, long time ago, there was a breakout receiver named Robbie Anderson. Now, Robbie Anderson was unheard of. Nobody talked about Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson was basically a no-namer, a nobody. Still is. But he played in the NFL for a very long time. I wish I had this game log in front of me right now. He crushed that season, the very end of the season. Robinson. If you're old enough to know, he crushed everything. And he was the wide receiver you wanted. Well, me in my championship game, I decided to start him because he was hot over someone like a Derrick Henry, Sammy Watkins, anyone that could have given me any kind of production whatsoever. I'm like, oh, Robbie Anderson. He's a stud. No, nobody knows who he is. Sure. I'm going to go ahead and risk my championship for Robbie Anderson. I lost by less than a point. Robbie Anderson scored 0 points. If I would have scored 1 point with Sammy Watkins, which I did, 1 point, there it is right here. Week 16, New England, 0 points, 3 targets. But previously he scored 18, 17.1, 16.1. He was on fire for 3 straight weeks. 0 points in the championship game. Do not fall for the guys who could potentially give you that big fat 0. Later, Craig. Do not settle for any of these flash in the pan guys for your championship week. It can kill you. I'm not saying Rico's that, but Rico's had a lot of great games. He's also had some bust games, and recently he's had a very disappointing game with Chuba Hubbard taking over, pretty much splitting carries side by side equally. So let's keep that in mind, people. Keep that in mind. My other favorite, I'm going to only do one more running back favorite, but man, there's a lot of them. You can go CMC again, but he's too obvious. Everyone knows you're not benching CMC. Here's my next guy, and you might not like this, and that's okay. But I'm telling you, sneakily, Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren seems to be their most trusted. I know Kenny Gainwell had a decent game, but he's got Miami, Detroit, Cleveland. I'm not saying those are easy matchups whatsoever. I'm not even telling you that these are easy matchups. I just know the way they're going to use Jaylen Warren down the stretch and Kenny Gainwell, they're going to be running back heavy as they were yesterday. And both Kenneth Gainwell and Jaylen Warren can be used. I'm only saying he's not going to win you a league, but don't be afraid of Kenny Gainwell's production because Jaylen Warren's also going to get involved as we saw yesterday. And I do think that they trust in Jaylen Warren enough to have 2 running backs be equally as awesome as their passing game declines. So I really like Miami at Detroit, at Cleveland. Tony Pollard just had 28 points against Cleveland. Cleveland can be ran on. They just did on a much inferior team. So therefore, please know I have Gainwell. And I think you could start Gainwell too. I think down the line, they're going to lean off of Rodgers in this passing game because they're not going to need it, especially against Miami, and they're going to need it against Detroit, especially at Cleveland. They're not going to need to throw the ball 30 times in these games to win. They can win with defense and running the ball. I love Jaylen Warren. Real quick on the receivers, because honestly, I want to tell you who to bench more than anything, like Justin Jefferson. But the Cowboys, they have the Chargers in week 16 in your divisional round. I would not avoid them, but be very hesitant towards CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I really am worried about Ted McMillan. He's got New Orleans and Seattle the very last week of the season. Tampa Bay in the middle is a good matchup. So if you're a Ted McMillan manager, just be wary about that last matchup against Seattle. And then Tampa. Let's talk about those guys. Emeka Mbuka hasn't scored double-digit points in over, I believe, 5 games at this point. He has Atlanta, Carolina, Miami. Mike Evans is coming back. Chris Godwin's getting healthier and healthier. Bucky Irvin looks healthier as can be. It might be time for you to let go of Emeka. It's been 5 weeks. Like, this shouldn't be difficult for you guys to do. He hasn't been producing for you at all. But with all these other players coming back into play, with them leaning more heavily on Bucky Irvin, as I think they should, Baker's definitely not healthy. I really do not like Emeka Mbuka. We need to talk about how we need to start sitting him. He's no longer an auto start. And I think you guys should know that. So that's going to wrap it up for the matchups. We do have the nightcap to get to. The tight ends, I know. Oh, what about the tight ends? Start the good ones, bench the bad ones. You can only do what you can do, because I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, Josh Oliver. I think Josh Oliver's going to. No, I don't think Josh Oliver is going to be a league winner. Start your McBride, start your Ferguson, start the guys who got you to the dance. Do not get too hung up on Josh Oliver, and who was the other bum that went off? Dawson Knox. Don't get too hung up on those guys. Start the guys that brought you to the dance. As far as the nightcap goes tonight, there was a lot of questions on Saquon Barkley. We have the Philadelphia Eagles at the LA Chargers. I usually go through the guys that you want to start and not start. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. They're going against the number 1 ranked, I guess, fantasy points against team in the league. The Chargers allow the least amount of fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Yes, you can start Fannin, especially with Njoku with that knee injury. Fannin, I hope, continues this with Shadur Sanders. I hope. I have Tet been starting him since week 2. Me too, man. I have Tet been starting him since week 2, and I'm going to start him regardless because I have to. I know that some of you have to. I'm talking about the people who don't have to start Tet, who don't have to start some of these guys. If you have to start them, don't get cute. Don't try to look for Kendrick Bourne. Don't try to look for, name insert flash in the pan. Don't be looking for these flash in the pan guys. Start your studs, but be very wary of them. Put yourself in a better position. If you have to start someone in a bad matchup, make sure you have a running back that has better upside to overcome that low floor you may have. If your tight end gets hurt, whatever it may be, you just got to work your way around it. If you're deficient in quarterback play, like I'm going to be without Daniel Jones, I'm going to start my higher play guys who can potentially give me the 30-point games on any given week. Roma Dunze, he comes to mind. He's been awful. Roma Dunze has been complete dog water, as the kids used to say. Dog water. But he has that potential to give me 37 points. He has that potential to give me 30 points. These are the players I'm talking about. I don't feel comfortable starting Odunze, but since I lost my starting quarterback and I'm going to be down substantial amount of points going into the week because I no longer have my quarterback too, I need to start putting players in there that could give me those week winning points. Even though Odunze has been dog water, I've seen him do it before and he has potential to do it again. So that's where I'm going to lean towards to make up the deficiencies of my quarterback position or any position. Play tight ends versus the Bengals for max points. Yes. Yeah. Play tight ends versus, I started Gesicki this week. Who'd they play? Start that team. Whoever the Bengals played. I was like, oh, I don't have a tight end. Gesicki, give me him. I love that gritty. Best gritty in the game. Best gritty in the game. I miss Mike Gesicki. Come back to Miami. I missed it. It was fun. I know people didn't like you. I know the Dolphins didn't like you. I liked you. Come back. All right. Lad McConkey. He has seen about 21.8 target share this year, just averaging around 56.9 yards per game. With Amari Hampton coming back, I'd like to see Lad's usage. Long time ago when Hampton got injured, I told y'all Lad's going to pick up a lot of work with this. Going to be an extension of the run game. He's a safe option. So remember, when Hampton was, I guess, not injured, Lad sucked. Lad was bad. Lad was almost droppable. We were talking about how Lad shouldn't be on your roster. Hampton got hurt. Lad was good. Lad was great. Lad was very consistent. So I'm very curious on how they're going to see him tonight, hoping for 5 to 7 catches with tight end upside. I'm hoping. But back then, Keenan Allen was also catching 10 balls a game, and Quentin Johnson was amazing. So back to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown has been very strong this season. I know that people want to talk about how he's been a bum and he's been very inconsistent, which he has been. But he's also been very good. Matter of fact, I believe he's wide receiver 8 since week 6. Very, very good. I know a lot of high 30-point games with these blow-up games against Minnesota and others. But this is the game they kind of need. They kind of want to beat the LA Chargers. And on the flip side, the Chargers need to win this too. I'm going to say if you have to ask who do you pick, A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, 1,000% benching Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown is their big money play. A.J. Brown is involved in the red zone. He can go deep. He runs all the routes. Devontae Smith does too. It's just he seems to be the odd man out in these situations. I would really love, I can't wait till the offseason to talk to Tim and Will and everybody, even Brian, everybody about Dynasty and get into that because I want to know what everyone's value of Devontae Smith is. At this point, I value him at a high second at this point in his career. I know I might be crazy. I might be too high on him. I'm not sure. But he's someone I'm not starting on my fantasy football teams moving forward. He's just too volatile. Quentin Johnson for the Chargers, he's risky. Might catch 3 to 5 balls. He's no longer the player he was in weeks 1 through 4. But he could definitely be a game breaker for you. He only needs 1 to take it to the house. So if you're in a matchup where you need to win to get into the playoffs and your options are Quentin Johnston or Devontae Smith, that's going to be tough for you to navigate. But I almost prefer Quentin Johnson in this situation because I feel like he's going to be the one who could break one. Whereas Devontae Smith is like the 3rd, 4th option. Johnson is too, but he could break one. Let me know if you guys disagree with that because I'm heavily on that one. As far as the running backs go, Saquon Barkley's been super underwhelming this year. Only 740 yards on the season on 198 carries. Just 4 rushing touchdowns. Hasn't been the back he was last year, but it was silly for anyone to expect that to happen again. If you play fantasy football long enough, everyone who should eventually has a season. We'll see Bajan have his amazing season, hopefully soon. We'll see, we saw Jamar Chase's, we saw CeeDee Lamb's, we saw Justin Jefferson's. We're seeing Jonathan Taylor's right now. We saw Henry's. Everyone has that magical year that's hard to duplicate. Back in the day, Priest Holmes had it. LT, everyone has theirs. It's difficult for them to go back and back, not back to back. Not everybody could be CMC. Yeah. That's a shot at one person that's probably watching, who's probably not watching, by the way. A debate that will never get settled. Well, it should be settled. But yeah, that's going to do it for today because I'm actually out of time. We had a lot to talk about. But there's things that I didn't even get into yet. I have 2 more pages of notes I couldn't get to. So I'll save that for the Wednesday show. If you enjoyed the content, you enjoyed my presence today, make sure you leave a like button. It helps the channel out. Make sure you subscribe if you have not. I know that there's 82% of you right now watching that are not subscribed. I hate those videos, by the way. I watch Fortnite videos and they're like, I see only 10 of you are subscribed. And they point here and there's a thing. I'm not going to do that. But I do know that 80% of you right now, 82% of you are not subscribed. So make sure you hit that sub button, leave a like, and comment down below. What do you need tonight to clinch the playoffs? Do you need 15 from Saquon? Do you need Jalen Hurts to score you 52 points. What do you need? Remember, anything is possible in this game of fantasy football. Anything is possible. So I wish you all luck. I'm glad that you've been here all season. If you're eliminated from the playoffs or you get eliminated, make sure you keep watching us. We're not done yet. We have dynasty content. We have best ball draft starting right after the Super Bowl. That's right after the Super Bowl. And Justin is putting together a very, very cool idea of a playoff league. So more details on that soon when Justin gets all that ironed out. I don't think I was supposed to let that out of the bag, but I sure did. So if you're into some playoff fantasy football action, we got you covered there too. Matter of fact, we don't stop here at Fantasy Now Plus. We do not stop. So I appreciate you all. I'll be back next week, of course, with more shenanigans and more fun stuff. So until next week, guys, peace out.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.